Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I am so excited for tonight's conversation. I actually realized right before I came on that I haven't done a joint live in a really, really long time, and I'm excited to get going on them again. When I first started going live, I used to do lives all the time with people, like in 2021. But tonight, I'm excited. I'm going to be doing a live with one of my clients, Bryanne. So, Bryanne, if you want to request to join me live, go ahead and request, and I'll accept soon. But I'm excited to be chatting with Bryanne because she came into the program, Overwhelmed to Organize, which is my signature coaching program. And she just thrived in the program. She literally came in overwhelmed, procrastinating, frustrated, really just wanted to get her life together and got it all the way together. And we were just talking about and raving about her experience on our offboarding call at the end of the coaching program. And then she was like, I want to tell people about my experience. And I was like, all right, let's come on live. So I'm excited to have her because, as the coach, it's one thing for me to talk about how amazing the program is and how much it'll transform your time, but it's another thing to hear it from my actual clients and hear their stories. So I'm excited to spotlight Bryanne tonight. So let me go ahead and joining. I didn't even say hi to you guys. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you see me okay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. How are you?
I am doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for tonight.
Too.
People on here for you, and I love it.
I know. I got a great support system.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, of course, to start out, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself as well, just in case, because sometimes people watch the replay or they're on here, they don't even know who I am. So you go ahead, share, a little bit about yourself, and then I'll go ahead and share.
All right. Well, like Sade said, my name is Bryanne. Hi, everybody. I joined Sade's program a couple months ago, and I am in education. I did own my own preschool, and I was also director of it, but I have, since the end of the school year, made some changes, which I'm really excited about, and I'll share a little more later. And I'm really excited to be on with Sade today. And yeah, that's about it.
Yes. And do you want to share where you're based? I always like sharing people are based. I think it makes you connect with people.
What do you want me to share?
Where you're based.
I'm sorry. I'm in New York, Rockland County, not the city because I can't stand it, but I am in New York and I love it.
Yes, I love that. Just because a lot of my people, they're usually from New York, so everyone likes to shout out to New York, even though I'm no longer living there, I love to shout out New York every single live I can. So, because we're true New Yorkers. So just to start off, let me introduce myself before I get into the questions. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Sade Kelly. I'm a time management coach, and I specialize in helping ambitious women learn how to manage their time so that they can overcome overwhelm, they can get organized, and they can have a peaceful life where they can literally manage it all and have it all. So tonight I'm joined by Bryanne, and I'm really excited to have her because if you don't know, I have a program called Overwhelmed to Organize, and the sole purpose is to literally take you from being overwhelmed to wherever you're at and feeling out of control with your life to in control with your life, in control of your time, and just reclaiming it. So Bryanne, I would love to take you back. Let's see, if it's July, let's take you back to, what was it, April when you started?
I think so. Yeah.
Earlier this year. Wow. Yeah.
Like
so
yesterday.
I would love to back to April. And let's just discuss, where were you before you decided to, get on that first call with me?
I was that person who, big procrastinator, dragged my feet even on the smallest little things. And I was that person too, I don't have enough time. Mm-hmm. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough hours in the day. And also at the same time, I feel like I need to get my life together. I was very overwhelmed. I felt very burnt out. And I did not know where to go.
Right. And I think that's something everyone can relate to. A lot of us have said it. Even myself has said it before. Oh, I don't feel like I have enough time. I feel like I lose grasp of time. I need to get my life together. I always say, if I had $1 for every time somebody said that to me, I would probably
be you would own New York.
Yeah, exactly. So what was I guess I'm trying to think of how to formulate this question. What motivated you to kind of want to take a step to make a change? Because you were aware of a problem you were having, but what motivated you to kind of want to make a change?
I think when you were on live with Brittany,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking about your stuff, and then you were offering the free masterclass, and I went on and listened to it. I'm like, I need her in my life. Like, I didn't even know such a thing as a time coach management actually existed. So I was like, oh, it's like she knew I needed her, and it just kind of went from there. Of this is the time now. I need to be okay with investing with myself and just really jump on it, because what do I have to lose at this point?
Ooh, I love that. I love that you said you didn't even know what a time management coach was, because I think a lot of people don't even know what a time management coach is. There's I think what are the coaches that you've heard of? Let's just talk about that first before I go into what I was going to say.
Honestly, not too many. Okay. Honestly, like I mean, life coach, of course, but you always hear about those. So until I really started getting into that world of getting to know different coaches by chance or at different events, I really didn't know that world was that big, much less out there. Yeah. Now that I do, I'm like,
yeah. I think a lot of people have heard of life coaches because like they've been around forever, or you just know Tony Robbins. And then because I feel like he kind of made life coaches be on the map.
Absolutely.
And then also people know of business coaches, because if you're interested in entrepreneurship, you see them all over the freaking Instagram all the time. But when it comes to personal development and like life coaching niches, people don't always hear about what the different niches are under it. And even for me, when I became a coach, I thought, oh, I just want to help people with their lives. Like, I want to be a life coach. Automatically, I thought that's what I should do. And then I actually worked with a business coach. She was like a startup business coach. And she helped me realize, like, no, you should actually niche down and actually focus on time management, since you have an expertise in project management and with your time. And at first I thought nobody would want time management help. Like, and naturally, I was like, nobody's going to want to invest in time management help. But what happened was I ended up just offering it, and a lot of people did actually want it. So that's kind of how it launched. So I love that you said, you didn't even know what it was, but then once you learned about it, then you were like, okay, maybe this is something that I actually need. So you also touched on investing, which I want to talk about. And we had like every call we have, we're like, people need to invest in themselves. They need to let go, like stop thinking about their money when they think about how much they value their time and their goals and their dreams. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? How did you shift your mindset around investing?
Well, first of all, what really set me off was the one time when we were talking and you told me somebody had questioned your prices because of how expensive they thought it was. And I was so offended for you by that, because in my eyes, like, you're worth every single penny. And I think it's hard because I think people, especially even myself in the beginning, I was afraid to invest in myself. And I came up with every excuse possible. No, I can't afford it. I don't have the time for it. But in reality, if I really broke down what I was spending a month even in eating out, going to movies, and doing different things I really enjoy, I probably could afford you twice over. So I think when a person's at that point of questioning and being like, no, it's too expensive, they're not ready yet. Mm-hmm. They're not ready. So every excuse is going to come into play. And I don't think it even at that point has anything to do with the coach and what they're quote unquote charging. I think it has to do with them, and they're not really ready to take that next step. So for me, I was just like, okay. But at the end of the day, switching gears, if you will, of my business and what I want to do, the ideas I had, I'm like, I don't know how to do some of these things. I don't have a business degree. I have a master's in education. They don't teach you about marketing when you're going through that. They don't teach you about time management, which they honestly should. It's really a great time saver, and also I feel like if I want to become a mentor and a coach for teachers and educators, I have to practice what I preach. How can I expect them to invest in me if I don't invest in other people? So I want to put in the time, I want to put in the money, because I am worth it. And I want them to one day turn around like, Bryanne, you are worth every single penny. So in my opinion, for myself at least, I was like, okay, I'm ready to invest in myself now, so I'm okay. So I think that's a big key of when you're ready to invest in yourself, that means you're ready to get on the road to success. Whatever success might mean to you. It could be financially, spiritually, mentally, but until you're ready to make that commitment, you're just going to kind of stay in the same place. Like if I didn't invest with you, I'm going to still be over here struggling with my time management. So once you're ready to invest in yourself, that's your road to success right there.
Ooh, I love that. It reminds me of like when you finally are ready to learn from someone who's done what you're looking to achieve, that's when you'll see the fastest results. And that was always something that, similar to you, that I thought of when I was thinking about investing. Investing is scary for all of us. So if you're watching and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to invest, like all of us are scared to invest at first, but once you do it and you see the return, you're like, oh, I would do this 1,000 times.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there. When we all have maxed out credit cards and stupid things like Target, this, that, and the other thing, we could take that money and put it to a much better use, you know? And I'm getting to that like mental place where I'm just like, okay, like realistically, and not that bad. And like, is this really, you know? So I worked with many different coaches at this point. And don't get me wrong, everybody had something different and unique to offer. Some of them, I don't know if I'd run back and join again. But for what I learned from them, it was definitely worth it. I would definitely run back to join any time for sure. But, you know, but you also have a really great accountability system, which I really think is important for people. And just having that knowledge, like I think you and I discussed at our last meeting, like, you know, I know you're going to ask me about this. And it's going to be like the third time now. I'm going to have to be like, no, I don't have it. And I don't want to say that again. I'm tired of it. So it just was real incentive for me to get those things done and to keep on track. And once I did, I was like, ooh, I'm so motivated now. Especially like that 1 week, I was like, I got this done, I got that done. Like this has never happened.
Let's talk about that. Like, what were the things that stood out to you in the Overwhelmed to Organize program? Like, what were the things that you maybe didn't know you needed, but once you got, you were like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed, and I'm seeing results?
So I first of all, the way that you set up the program is just, it slides and it's very smooth transition. And like you and I were discussing, I think the whole program is what exactly I needed, but every week and every module that you had, that's what I needed at that point in time. So if I would have started on module 6, I'd be like, this makes no sense to me. You know, so really just hitting every module every week, and then having not only you, but the other women in the group as well. Especially Julia with her reminding, I had this, I'm like, girl, I need you in my life too. Yeah. You know, so just having that support and knowing, oh crap, I'm not the only one who struggles with this. Mm-hmm. You know, because I think sometimes people feel alone because like, am I the only one who has a hard time with this? So it's really nice being in that group of women who not only understand, have been there, and can relate to it. Mm-hmm. So the support, the accountability, even your handbook, workbook. Mm-hmm. Okay, even the workbook, like it was sometimes very difficult because I really had to get honest with myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm like I can't really like try to fib on this because what's the point of it then? Like, you know, so I think sometimes just sitting with yourself and really looking at it honestly, you're like, yeah, this has really got to change, you know? So it was really helpful, like the transitioning of it and just having that support, even like you reaching out to us daily saying like, you know, how's everybody doing? Just checking in. Does anybody need any help and assistance? That was just all, it was so smooth. And it was a great program. And I could not recommend it more, especially if you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed and you're feeling burnt out. You really helped me ease that because you're like, okay, let's take a deep breath. And like, just like setting out those, I'm a very visual person too. So setting out those goals and actually seeing them in front of you was really helpful and less scary. Because I feel like without having it written down, I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't remember what I said I wanted to do. Yeah. So just kind of seeing everything in the order and having it, because I remember the first time I did it, you were like, no, you're never going to be able to. So we really broke it down even further, which I'm like, okay, that makes more sense now. And it was so helpful just to see it written out and being able to check it off as I went along. I love seeing the check marks. So I'm like, done.
Yes, I love that. And just to give some context to everybody watching, so how Overwhelmed to Organize is set up is you start off with clarity. So what Bryanne was talking about with the goals is where we start off. We start off getting very clear on what do you want, where are you currently, and how are we going to get you there. So I always have clients write out their goals and how they feel like they can get there. And then I always review it. And that's what she was talking about. You were like, no. And then we deep dive and we figure out actionable plan, you know, and I give them tips. And then we move into how can we increase your consistency? So how do you start setting boundaries and getting more discipline? And it kind of speaks to what you were saying, like you had to get really honest with yourself, because during those sections, it's really questionnaires. It's really digging deep into your patterns. Why are you doing the things you're doing? What do you want to start doing? And if you're not being honest with yourself, you won't make the changes. And then we end with like what she was talking about, module 6, where it's like, oh, now you're ready to create systems and actually implement them and follow them. You can't just go straight into scheduling and systems and project management, because you have upfront work that needs to get done.
I think the hardest part too with the goals was not per se detailing it out, but putting actual dates on it.
Lines, yeah.
I'm like, now I feel targeted, but you know, it really, again, it was a form of accountability that was able to help me understand no, if I'm going to get this done, it's got to get done.
Yeah. So what are the tools that have changed your life the most?
Just really prioritizing, and also your role of, if it's going to take you under 3 minutes, just do it. Because again, I have things sitting here, I'm like, why am I not doing this? Like, it's literally going to take me 5 minutes or less. I don't understand. So that, and just really working out with you what's best for me to organize my thoughts and my dates and how I'm going to keep track of everything. And we went through a couple different things, and now I've landed on the one thing. I'm like, okay, this really works well for me. You know, so just really kind of trial and tribulations of finding what works for you. You know, and it's never going to be perfect. I'm sure in a month or two, I'm like, this isn't working. I got to switch up a little bit. But now that I have the tools and you in my head, I'm able to do that with a little bit of an easier mindset of, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and just trying out the different things. And I really liked in your course too, how you had like different apps listed for us and giving us those options of, I didn't even know that existed. Oh, the one clock thing where it's like, you know, work for 5 minutes and then stop. Yes. Yes, that's my favorite one. That is my favorite one. So, you know, like, just, I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, this is just so beautiful. Like, there's all these new options out there for me now, and I just didn't know about it before. So the tools that you literally gave me and otherwise really helped me bring that all together.
Oh yeah, I love that. And it speaks to when you're in a program versus when you're trying to Google your way, right? Like, we've all been there. We're trying to Google our way, trying to YouTube our way. And what's wrong with YouTube and Google is that it's all over the place. There's no curriculum to follow. You're learning from experts, beginners, more advanced. Like, it's all, you don't know what's 1, what's 2, what's step 3. And when you work with a coach in a program, you're getting the exact sequence, like Bryanne was saying, that you need to get the result that you're looking for. And you can get it faster. Like, she's able to make these changes, trial things out, and learn the tools in 90 days versus like trying to learn it over a year's time, but not really making any progress because you're kind of doing it on your own and trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. I agree 110% with you.
Yeah. So I would love to know how learning how to manage your time better and actually working in a coaching program has actually transformed your life. So what has been some like wins? And you know, I love a win. This is like every what are your wins? I always want to celebrate my people. So what are some of your wins? Share them with the people.
So my biggest win has been getting my whole to-do list done.
Yeah.
And like that one day I texted you, like, I actually got every single thing done on my to-do list. That was like huge for me because I really never accomplished that before, mainly because I was using Post-it notes and separate pieces of paper, so I couldn't remember what was what and what I had to get done when. So, but having it in that, like that one section, I'm like, it was such an amazing feeling, and I felt so accomplished, and I got it done quicker than I ever had before. I did not procrastinate. I scheduled my breaks. I scheduled how long they were going to be. I set my timer, and I just really made sure to stick to my schedule, if you will. And like normally, like something that would take me like all day to finish, like, you know, it took me like a couple hours instead. Especially, as you know, I really don't like doing paperwork for work sometimes with certain ones. And, you know, just being able to now just sit down, like, just get it done. You're not doing yourself any good by prolonging this. Just get it done. You know, so just really having that time of an extra hour or two a day, it really is so helpful. Like at night now, like I could sit down and be like, oh, I could actually relax. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night like, oh, I got to text myself something. And now I'm sitting there for 5 minutes texting myself and trying to fall back to sleep.
Mhm.
Because I do wake up like that. So, so it really has just helped me pull my life together so much. And I'm really excited to start implementing those, especially come September when everything is full blown into gear, and really testing myself to see if I can stick with it, because it's going to be vital to me for my business to do that.
Yeah. And I will say too, like when you came into the program, your own words, you said you're a procrastinator, you were like, you don't follow through on things. And usually when I hear those things, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. But I know that once we start working together, you'll make big changes. And that's exactly what happened with Bryanne. Like she came in and she wrote out the goals and literally would stick to them. And if the deadlines were getting close and it wasn't making sense, she would adapt them as needed. And that's where people I think go wrong, where you think once you make a plan, you can't adapt it. You have to follow it to the T. So they get scared to even make a plan. But when you have freedom and flexibility, like we have and we learn in the program, then you're able to now know how to adapt. So now when things do change and schools open back up again in September, you'll know how to transition. Because when we started, you were kind of ending school and transitioning into summer, and now you're kind of having another season.
Yeah, because I remember we had a discussion. I was like, well, I have a lot going on right now, so I think I should wait.
Yeah. Yes.
You were like, well, no, now is the perfect time to do it, because now you have to focus on everything, and this is the perfect time to get yourself organized. I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yes. I think that's another thing when people are like, well, let me wait until I have more time to learn how to manage.
You're never going to have enough time. Never going to have enough time.
It's always going to come up. So I know even for you too, like being able to have, like you said, more time at night, so you'll be able to spend more quality time with your family and your significant other. Like that's been a big gain that you've gotten from managing your time well. Seems like your stress and anxiety has gone down. Sure. Has gone down. Anything else that you've noticed big changes?
I'm not feeling overwhelmed anymore. That's a big one for me, because when I feel overwhelmed, I don't know about anybody else, but I shut down. And then it makes me procrastinate even more on what I need to get done. However, the only thing I will say I disagree with you about is the Post-its. We will go to bat on that one. I love my Post-its. I will never give them up. I'm sorry, but I have too deep of love for my Post-its, and that's that. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
So the Post-it thing for everybody else, she used to have her to-dos or her tasks on like 1,000 Post-its all over the house, and I told her, I need you to find one notebook. And I need you to put in everything. I don't care if you use Post-its, but keep them in a central place. If you put your Post-its in your notebook or one place on your desk, I don't mind. But if the Post-its are now getting lost, that's what you're kind of going back and forth. And that's actually a great example, because I am a coach who, like, I will never really challenge my clients too much. I always say, let's test it out. So I'm like, if you want to use 1,000 Post-its, let's test it out, see how it works. And then I'll say, okay, let's test out my method. And you tell me which one worked better. And then it's my method.
In the master class when I was doing time, you said something about Post-it notes. I was like, wow. I was like, no.
Yes. But I'm so proud of your progress. I know you've been able to save, like, I think you were telling me, like 4 to 6 hours a day, which is huge. You think of that over a course of a week, that's like 28 to like 30 something hours. So that's amazing. Anything else you wanted to share before I let you go? But also everybody watching, if you guys have any questions for either of us, feel free to write in the chat. I'm happy to answer too.
For sure. And please feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you have questions. But, honestly, I'm just so happy that I did take that step to invest with you, because I'm scared to think of where I would still be if I didn't, honestly, and I think you and I were talking the other day, like you and I just mesh very well together. We click very well together, and I really think that's a big help. And because like anything, like as we know as coaches, not everybody wants to work with us, and we don't want to always work with everybody either. So I think it's okay to remember that if you feel like you're not clicking with someone, or it's just not your style, it's okay to say no. You don't need to feel pressured into buying something from them if you are not feeling that. It's okay to say, no, I don't think this is the right fit. And sometimes you might hear from coaches, but never be afraid to take that jump and try. It's a big community with a lot of support. And a lot of times people talk about and are very upset that they don't have a good support system. Right. this is a great way to make a support system. Every person you meet in there, you befriend, and you guys talk online, and you're there to support each other, so one of the girls from our group, I still talk to her all the time. And it's really a great way to not only learn, but to network and to also expand your support group and your help group, so I always encourage people of, you got to do it. If you want to become a coach, you want to become somebody who does something, then you have to learn from others. You can't just say you want to do it and expect people to sign up with you and then you don't do it.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to invest in yourself, and just really take that opportunity so you feel more successful, whatever that might mean to you. And then you're not feeling upset, burned out, or overwhelmed. And it's not a nice feeling, and I'm a mom too. So that even more so of, I was in that mindset of making sure my family was all set up organizationally, and I wasn't, so now that I am, I could help them more, especially when I have 2 teenagers, so it's a difficult time to not be organized and not invest in yourself, so we could do anything we put our minds to as long as we have the right tools. And for me, you were the right tool for sure. You really gave me the tools and the support and the kick in the butt I honestly needed of, well, get it done. I'm like, okay, I'll get it done, but I really think it's important to remember of, you're always worth the investment.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. And I love how you were like, she's loving, but she also kicks your butt.
But that's what you need sometimes. You need love, but sometimes you need tough love, because sometimes we don't always hear right away that we have an issue and what needs to be fixed, so I just always think it's important, if you're not sure, reach out to me, reach out to Sade. If you're not sure what questions to ask a potential coach or mentor to make sure it's the right person for you, reach out, ask. It's okay to ask, because at first I'm like, man, I had no idea what to ask. Now I know what to ask, because now I know what I'm looking for in a mentor or coach, depending on the area. I know what to ask now. And I think that's really important for them, not only to speak what they have, but for you also to rebut and ask questions and get the information you need as well.
Oh, I'd love that. Would you be open to sharing some things that you recommend asking?
I mean, I think one of the biggest things for me, well, with you at least too, what time are your classes? Mm-hmm. What time do you meet? Because I worked with other coaches before, and I'm like, I'm sorry, in the morning? That's going to be a constant replay for me, because I can't make it. And then I feel like I'm losing out on money because I can't be there, even though I could watch the replay. Mm-hmm. Your class was at 6:30 at night. That was perfect for me, and I really enjoyed that. Oh, bless you. And also asking them, do you require any work to be done? Do you have modules that need to be watched? Do you have workbooks that need to be completed? Because not everybody has a lot of time for that. So whereas your videos are perfect length, I feel, others, I'm saying, I'm like, this is an hour long? Oh, no, this is going to have to be split up, or I'm going to have to fast forward through, so asking what kind of time frame you need to invest when you're not on a Zoom with them or in a meeting time with them, and also I think it's important to ask who works with you. Or is it you I'm going to be meeting with? Is it other people I'm going to be meeting with? What is their position and role with you? Because some coaches do. They have a whole team, mm-hmm, which is great. Mm-hmm. Great. But one time when I first started with a bunch of coaches, this woman was messaging me, and then she's like, oh, Andrew's going to be meeting with you, and please watch this movie done by Zeke. I'm like, I'm sorry. Who are all these people? Who am I meeting with? And I felt very uncomfortable with it, because it went from one person to also all these other people involved, and I had no idea who they were, what their role was, and honestly, I felt like it was a scam and I was being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to ask how their team is, who their team is, what does everybody do, what are they going to teach, so just really asking those questions of making sure it's the right fit for you.
Right. Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. And I think sometimes people do it wrong, but for me, I want to make sure every client feels comfortable, they feel supported, and they get everything answered. And Bryanne knows our first interaction, I was like, ask me anything. Transparency is my favorite. It's one of my values. So I was very open to answering anything, any questions that she had. And even when designing my curriculum, I make it where there's touch points throughout the entire process every single week. And like she said, I make everything super short. and to the point. I'm not about the fluff. Let's get you down to what you need and let's apply it to your lifestyle, because my program is not so much just learn how to manage your time, but learn what's needed with a specific topic like discipline or scheduling, but then apply it, because the application and the implementation is where your life changes. That's where you actually see the changes. Just learning about time blocking or just learning about the Pomodoro method and you're not applying it correctly is probably something that's holding you back. I see that all the time. People are like, oh, I know how to manage my time. I time block. But like, if you're not following the time blocks, or if you're seeing it come up on your calendar and you're ignoring it, those are discipline issues. Those are habit issues. Like changing your habits is a big one. Maybe you don't have a good morning and night routine, and those is affecting how you're taking care of yourself, and that's affecting your energy, so you're not getting things done. Like, these are the itty-bitty things that people think are small and they don't really affect them, and they're the biggest impacts. I'm sure you know, Bryanne, the program, they have the biggest impact on how you're living your life.
And also, one more big question I would ask is, do I have accessibility to you at all times?
Right.
Because it might not be through text, which is fine. Like we what do we use? Yeah. So you know, like, but I need to know, like, you know, if I reached out to you, I know you were going to get back to me. But in the start of that, I didn't know that. Like, you know, I don't know what your life is like. We didn't know each other that well. You know, so I always like to ask, like, well, how much accessibility do I have for you to you if I have questions for you? Not for a one-on-one meeting, but like, you know, can I message you if I have questions? You know, because if they're saying no, okay, well, then what am I supposed to ask you? You know, so making sure that you have access. Don't be obnoxious about it, of course, not every single moment, every single day. But like, you know, when you have true, like, you know, hey, quick question for you. I don't really understand how to use this. Like, any suggestions or tips? You know, like, I messaged you that one time. I'm like, I could use some support. And you're like, okay. And like, we messaged each other and we worked it out. Yeah. You know, so I think that's a really important one too, to make sure you have access to the person who is going to be running it.
Right. And I also think that comes down to the coach too. Like, you have to set your own boundaries. Like, these are the times where I'm available. And if I these hours, I'll get back to you in these hours the next day. So every time someone messaged me, if it was within the hours I usually answer, I answer. If not, I was answering the next day. But you always got an answer and you felt supported. And that's just, and it's up to the client as well. Like, Bryanne is good at, like, when she has something going on, she'll send it, she'll question, she'll let me know ahead of time. And not all clients are like that. But as you're looking at coaching programs, I think it really is important to think about, like, if I'm going to purchase this program, I'm going to have to be actively involved. Like, you have to show up to the calls. You have to ask the questions. The coach doesn't know everything going on in your life unless you tell them. So you also have to actively show up for yourself. And that's when you see transformation as well. So I love that you brought that up.
I agree. And also, you know, you got to have respect for each other, where the coaches have to have respect for us. We also have to have respect for them of they do have a life outside of us. You may not see it. You may not know what it is. You may not know who they live with, but it's really none of your business. But you also have to have respect for their life is not all work. So that's why I said, don't be obnoxious, like, about, like, contacting them every single day. Like, hey, what are you doing? You know, so you just got to really keep in mind of everybody does have a life. So don't waste their time. They won't waste yours, hopefully. You know, and if you feel they are wasting your time, speak up. It's okay to say, hey, I'm paying money for this and I'm not getting what I need out of it. So how are we going to correct this?
Right. I love that. Let's see. I see people writing comments. I don't know if there's any questions. Gotta have a healthy and respectful boundaries. Otherwise, the growth can't happen. Yeah. Order and structure. You gotta have routines. Trust your gut. Who to the what?
That's my sister.
You gotta find what works best. We surely spent that money at Target. Oh, the investment in you is the greatest one you'll ever make. Exactly. Investing in personal development is something that should be ongoing throughout your entire life, because skills are going to help you to get to the next level. I actually was just thinking about this earlier. Like, I was in therapy and we're talking about, like, you know, childhood and whatever else, but it ties to some things I'm dealing with currently. And I was like, wow, we really have to be always doing the work and actually finding ways to improve. And even as a time management coach, I'm still finding ways to reiterate my schedule or my time. I've been testing out a new routine just this week, because I'm very big on, like, if I tell my clients to do this certain challenge or this certain method, why don't I test it out myself, or test out that app or whatever program I give to you guys? I'm always testing stuff out. I'd be like, hey, that's not working for you. Let me test something out and make sure it works, and then let you test it out as well. So
I agree with her statement too, because, you know, being an educator, you always learn you have to be flexible. Right. And I find sometimes, especially teachers who have been doing it for so long, they feel they know everything. They feel that every training, every professional development is above them, but things are always changing. What worked 2 months ago is not going to work now. So you have to be ready and willing to accept and admit that you're not always going to be, I know everything. Things change. You might have a little bit of a weaker point than and a stronger point. So education, no matter what field you're in, has to be a constant ongoing thing if you expect to keep up with the times with social media and you want to maintain that, so you got to be ready and willing to be like, okay, well, I'm going to need some more support in this, or you're never going to get anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's so important, especially as women and entrepreneurs, like we all need support. Like we a lot of us are coming from this place of like, I had a job and I was doing this business, kind of figured it out on the side. And now I want to jump in and go full time with whatever it is. And if you don't have a boss over you all the time, it's really hard to keep track of things, to be constantly learning, to make sure everything's running, that you're making enough money, that you're spending your time on the right things, you're prioritizing what you got to prioritize, you're taking care of yourself and your family. Like, a lot can come up. So that's why it's really important to not only just have support, but also that accountability and to keep investing in yourself, no matter what that looks like for you.
Agreed. Don't have any regrets because you didn't do, or question what if because you didn't invest in yourself at that point in time.
Right. Exactly. All right. And anything else you want to share? I know you are launching some stuff in your business, so feel free to share if there's anybody on here who may be an educator, especially with your specific type of education.
Yes. And also, that's another great thing about working with Sade. Her knowledge goes more than just time management. So there have been many times, like we've had a one-on-one, or if I'm the only one in class, we have in-depth talks about business, and she was able to help bring such clarity to me of what exactly it is I want to do and how I want to offer it.
I'm
so
coach, guys, but only one of my time management coaching clients.
So sign up. There you go. So if you definitely are somebody in education who's looking to get into education, I'm willing to speak with anybody, where I'm really developing my coaching and mentoring sessions for teachers, administrators. I'm going to start hosting courses over the summer, especially for, how we're going to run the first week of school and what our themes need to look like, and this, that, and the other thing, curriculum, behavior. It's a really interesting time in education right now. And I think all teachers, educators, and anybody who works in the school, regardless of what you do, can attest to that. We're getting closer and closer to pandemic babies, and it's going to be a really difficult time because now more than ever, we have to focus on social emotional. And a lot of my courses coming up, they're going to be like a one-day kind of class, like a master class sort of thing. And it's going to be talking about different areas of education, but a lot's going to have to do with social emotional, classroom management. It's needed. Trust me. I don't care how long you've been teaching. It never hurts to get a refresher or ask questions, get some other people some ideas and some suggestions. And it's really hard to be a teacher nowadays, not even just with the kids, but with a lot of other circumstances. And educators really need to stop being so hard on each other and start being there for each other instead. So I'm so excited to be launching so many things, and there's so much to come, and I'm really excited for it. And also we have Tiny Learning Town, which we are selling educational materials and supplies to not only families, but teachers as well. So we're gonna have a lot of digital download stuff. We're gonna be offering a lot of sensory stuff for families to purchase. So it's going to be, there's a lot to come. So give me a follow, Bryanne_Adler, and you'll be able to see all the stuff we have coming up and be able to follow my pages.
Yeah. So if you have young kids, because you do early
childhood. Yep.
And if you have young kids, or if you are a teacher or know someone in this field who needs support, who obviously can learn from somebody who's done it before, who's great at managing their time and producing and implementing as well, hit up Bryanne.
Yeah, please. Even parents, if you are having struggling times with your kids at home. Hi, Chrissy. My sister said wink if you see me. Parents, if you're having issues at home with your child, or if there are some behavioral issues that you don't know how to handle, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to work with families as well. I truly believe family relationships with teachers and everybody else is such a dire need. It really is a group community, and it really does take a village to raise a child. And not always easy to know where to go to get answers. Like you said, yeah, you can go on YouTube, but how long ago was it? What level is this? And, so please feel free to reach out if you need some backup or support, especially you stay-at-home parents. It's hard being home all day with those kids. I've done it myself. I was a stay-at-home mom for 9 years, and when my daughter was old enough, I went back. I got my teaching assistant certificate. I literally started at the bottom and worked all the way up to my master's program with running my own school. So we got a lot going on. So please feel free to, if you got nieces and nephews, please reach out. I'm here.
Yes. Get Bryanne going. I'm so proud of her. When we first met, she didn't even have this going yet. And now she has completely got it together and is transitioning into this business. I'm excited to see where things go. And I'm excited to stay in contact. Of course, we will never stop talking because
we got to talk about.
But to everyone else watching, also, if you're interested in Overwhelmed to Organize, which is my signature 3-month coaching program for anyone who is feeling overwhelmed, specifically ambitious women is usually who I serve. Usually you are either a part-time or a full-time entrepreneur. You're overwhelmed in your personal life and your work life, and you're looking to get organized, get more effective, have some implementation and some more peace in your life. So if you're interested in that, I'm actively enrolling now. All you have to do is just go to my site or go to the link in my bio, or you know what, I'll make it even easier for you. Just DM me the word OTO, or I should say the letters OTO, and then I'll tell you more about the program and we can chat and see if it's a good fit for you. Because I'm very big on it. If it's not a good fit for you, I'm not even going to recommend my coaching program, but if it's a good fit for you, I will let you know, and then we'll get you enrolled, and then we'll change your life.
Just remember, be open-minded when you're speaking with her. And I know sometimes the price tag can be a little overwhelming on its own, but at the end of the day, I'm so overjoyed that I did join with you. You have really truly been the best, and she's really worth it, and it really does help your life, and it gets yourself together. Yeah. So you actually have time to do things you like to do, and actually have some you time, some family time, and whatever else you want to do. So I would definitely highly recommend reaching out to her, keeping an open mind about everything, and getting that time audit done. Even if you don't want to join the class, get a time audit done with her. She does those, so at least you can have some kind of clarity of what you need to do and where you need to go with it.
Oh yeah, great call up. And if you want a time audit, that's also in the link in my bio. You can book a free time audit. So, but thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. I think I've told you a few times. But thank you for also coming on live and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you the next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.